Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my jbird. And this is remembering 1976 into 1977 and how I used to play and the kind of chess games you're going to see right here in this game is the kind of things that's been going on back in 77. I'm still the same person I am today, the way I play. I do try to do the modern openings that they still have today, with the two knights up front and the two push pawns up the center, like you see all the time. And I'm only doing the short pawn push, but I'm not so good with that. I do try it. I do get a win here and there playing different games, but the purpose of this, remembering 76 and 77, is the way I play, and I still play it today. It's just the way it is. I can't change it. This game's a perfect kind of game to show you what the kind of things were going on, like I've been trying to tell you in my last videos. Now, I'm in white, and this is called Nightbird, Knights 101, Jaybird, Donna's Bird, Knight's Queen, to bot 1900. No errors, no assistance, no help of any kind to beat this bot, and this is game 11. Let's get down to it. D3, E5, D2, D5, E3. And different orders were happening back then. It was different pawn pushes at different times and different pieces being moved. After E3, B4, A3. And like I said, there was probably a total, after I learned how to play, after I got the Jaybird up for the first time I created and won with it, there was about 200 games we played after that. It was like 50 games that didn't mean anything because I was still learning how to just move the pieces and play the game. I just didn't have nothing until then. After A3, D6, E2, and there's your knight's bird. I didn't have any game until these pawns were pushed up on these like this. After E2, G5. Now I have to push here. I mean, this is the way, and it's funny how it opens up the 1900. Well, the 2000, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 2700s can even do this, open like this on black. After G3, F5, I push up the other pawn, H3, and I learned, the pawn pushes weren't exactly the same, but these were. Anyway, and that one. But, I got to play the game now to play the game. So after H3, E6, B3, the knight over here to the side. You see, that's my whole theory with pieces going side to side and moving the way they want. I did that. I'm only testing the water to see what he's really going to do because I have no idea what he's going to do. After B3, he does that F6. Guess what? I'm bringing it back. I know what he's doing. D2, castles, and there's your knights 101. After F1, and this is, like I said, this is the kind of games I've been playing back then in 77. After F1, E4, past D4, D7, and Jaybird used to cry, well, you're not taking anything, and you always keep playing the same thing, but it wasn't. There was slight moves different, After D1, I go into the Jaybird right there since 1977. And like I said, with them two pawns here, the pawns at the ends, and this here, that was my first creativity and my first game I ever won back in 1977 with this theory. This game goes a little bit different, but this was the kind of play going on back in 1977. After D2, C6, C3, A5, pawn up, B3, and see, I want to be prepared because if he keeps going, then I'm stuck. Then if I push it up, then he'll take, and then things go different. After B3, E8, into the Donna's bird right here. D2, D8. I take a pawn, A5, takes A5, takes A5, E7, back to D2, but now he gets a pawn too. After D2, takes A3, G4, H6, knighty up, G3. Now, you see, now I start my whole idea here. Let's see what happens after G3. He goes B4, C3, D6, close it off, B4. A8, of course I'm trading that. Takes A8, D1. Obviously, I'm pretty sure he's coming down here. After D1, A1. Knighty up into the knight's queen right here. After that, we got, and that was 25 moves there. Now, he goes B5. I castle. E8. C2. A2. C1. A1. B3. And this is the kind of game we used to play back then. The more and more I see my games, this is the way I was. This is the way I played back then, and this is the way I play today. That's just the way it is. Whatever opening you used in game you played, you do, and you did it, and I'm doing it. Here it is. You're seeing it. After B3, A2, A1, takes A1, takes A1, A8, B3. And obviously, it's not going to do him no good to come back here. Everything's defended. Okay? He can't come back here for nothing. There's nothing here. After B3, G6, Queenie, C1, G7, A1. He don't trade. C8, D2, D8. But I'm looking. I see weakness right here. I see a weakness. After D8, B3, C6, A2, H7, C4, takes C4, takes C4, takes C4, takes C4, E7, B5, takes B5, takes B5, G5, G2, B4, C4. And you see as this is going on here, he's got a black bishop and I got white squares in for my pieces. After C4, F6, A5, F3, takes B7. He didn't want to trade. Throws a check, H4, F1, F7. I go D5. I'm hoping to try to do something here. I got a knight here. Maybe I'm going to get another pawn. But I got to watch my my knight here. Or look, and I'm hoping to fork too. But he goes E6. I had to. I have to. My queen's undefended. So I had to take E6, takes E6, C6, A3, E2, D5, D8, B4, F7. And we'll come back to this. I already checked it out. F3, takes H6, C4, G8, F5, takes F5, takes F5, H6. Looks like he had no choice. The knight, nothing could help him. After F4, takes F4, D3, F5, H2, G2, F3, G1, takes D4, takes D4, takes D4, G3, E3, takes E3, takes E3, G4, C5, F5, E4. All I got to do is make sure I get on these white spaces. F3, E7. If he takes, I'll take H4, F6, H5, G7. I would have took with the knight. I'm not going to leave that pawn go. After G7, G5, E5, E6, H6, C7, F6, D5, G7. Slowly straddle my way down here. F6, G8, F5, F7, C3, E3, E4, F8, G6, G8, G5, B6, F7, F8, H7, E7, Queen, check, D7, F6, C7, F7, B8, H6, D8, H7, takes F6, takes F6, C8, and there's game. Let's quick go back, and it's a long one because you see the way I played. It's like taking the long way around to get things done, but this is, I like playing like this. This is the way I played back in 77, and this is the way I play today. Not every single game, but just, I guess, depends how things are going, how I feel. And everything looks good here. Knight's bird. I had to defend this way. I like defending that way. I went back. The only reason why now the knight's waiting 101, because once he moved that piece, I figured he was going to castle. Jbird. I had to move that up in case he keeps pushing that pawn. In the Donna's bird, I took a pawn and didn't realize it when I came. Then, okay, he got a pawn too. So, all right. I didn't see nothing else, no real danger. I had to defend that. I knew he was coming down for that. And then I castled. There's the nice queen. And I looked at that and I knew I could move my pieces around in the back like this. Right? He's got to get, now he's forced, or he's going to trap himself and he's going to end up, it's going to be worse. Went back up. There's still nothing there for him. He can't even throw a check. The knight's there. Game goes like this. I wanted to trade. He didn't. Because, like I said, I would have worked all my pieces on this spot anyway, bring the other knight, and probably work on this section right here without the queen. But this is how it went, like this, because I saw a weakness there. And I just played the game, looking for my moves. He didn't want to trade. He threw a check, but then he goes like that and threw a check to see what I can do. Nope. Then it was time to put everything in motion here. I had my chance to do that. And it went like this. Okay, let's go back here a little bit. Let me show you. Instead of him like this, if he would have went like this, it would have went down like this. See, already, that's why I didn't go that way. Already he's going to lose that pawn, you see. And then, okay, that's it. And then he tries to chase me down and trap me. Well, it goes something like this. I take, then he's got to come back. He can never let the pawn pass. This pawn's being threatened. I would just take. He has to move that one up. I'd move over. I'd just move up. And he'd be stuck like this. And I'd go back for the other pawn. He would take. And then I would take. And then now this game would continue on from that point if he went that way. And chances are, since I took, he would come back. I'd bring it up. Okay, he's going to come up here because he's got to save this, stop this pawn. So it goes something like this. And I got that square covered. And he can't walk away from that pawn. I never push. So what's he going to do? If he walks away, I'll just take this pawn. So there's nothing here. I mean, what can he do? He can't walk away from the pawn. That's why he didn't go that way. Okay, so the game didn't go that way. There's nothing there. That's why he went here, because there's nothing there. And then the game went like this. I really believe it's pretty good. I did a pretty good job. It's possible there's always mistakes somewhere in these games, but and the game went on like this. Okay, there you have it. Thanks for stopping by, and we're going to have some more remembering 76 and the 77.